Well, this is just gorgeous. So you can see where those tracks are in that little saddle right in the center there. So that's where you come through. And then this snow is really soft and it's not steep enough that you would actually go out of control even if you fell. At least not in my opinion. A lot of other folks are being cautious, which is the smart thing to do when they're going down with their micro spikes and egg sacks and stuff like that. But this was nowhere near the point where I felt that I needed to have that stuff out, which is in my backpack. But anyway, then he traverses across that slope up there. Same deal. It's not steep enough for a real slide, in my opinion, again, based on the snow conditions. But you can either drop down or you can stay high on the ridge. And I dropped down, and now looking at it, wish I stayed high because it would come on this ridge, which is actually the official trail. And then I'm back on the trail for real now. And you can see it's gorgeous. Forester Pass was melted out for me, at least on the steep side. But there was a lot of reputation going around about Glen Pass and it being the most dangerous one still in the Sierra. And so I got a little bit worried about it and the hype was kind of building up. But then when I actually got there, I realized that it wasn't as bad as I was expecting. Well, this is Glen Pass. It was a huff and puff on the way up, but I did okay. And so here's the first part of the traverse, and I'll be honest, it's definitely not one that you want to fall on, but the snow is pretty sun-cupped with all those little ridges and divots. It's firm snow, all those people just survived. It's not quite as bad as I was expecting, but I'm still going to go with micro spikes and a whip it. Mission complete. So on a scale of 1 to 10, based on the hype and my anxiety, I was expecting like an 8 out of 10. And in my own subjective difficulty grade, I'd give it a 4. So to show you what it does. So starting kind of up in that saddle there, you can hopefully see above those rocks, there's a horizontal track. And that is so stomped out that at times you're below your waist in a trench. It's basically like a boot pack trench. It's almost impossible to fall out of. And then maybe you can see where those folks are. That's probably the scariest part, because you have to get down that little bit of snow there. I did not even bother turning around and down climbing it. There was a good enough boot pack that the snow is firm enough that I easily just walked down with my micro spikes where somebody else had heel plunged yesterday. My goodness, this is beautiful. This is the Ray Lakes. The Ray Lakes, right after Glen Pass, were one of the most scenic places, in my opinion, of the entire Pacific Crest Trail. It was just stunningly beautiful. Everywhere you looked like it should have been like a big for sale picture somewhere. I've backpacked in a lot of beautiful places, but I really do think this section of the Sierras is the most beautiful terrain I've ever seen in my life. Well, everything's all done for the evening, and all that's left is to climb in and try to stay warm because it's chilly. There's a light breeze, but it's not too bad. Pretty protected here, but it's a gorgeous spot, up pretty high, around 11,500. Sun is setting. Moon is not quite full, but it's getting bigger, which makes it harder to sleep. Very pretty spot. Good morning, day 33. Pay no attention to the max temp. That's when the thermometer is getting cooked in the sun yesterday, but it did get down to 29 and it's starting to warm up. I'm at the top of Muir Pass and the sun is trying to fight its way up for the morning, but these big old mountains are blocking it. I slept somewhere in the neighborhood of center screen on the far side of the snow. Somewhere. Actually, that's it right there. Right in the center of that big rock. That's where my tent was. But it's a beautiful morning. And the lovely thing about passes is you get a dual view. As you can see, the snow is really starting to melt out even on the valley on that side. And I guess technically I have a little bit more up to do right there, but not bad. It's pretty early too. It's before 6. I got an early start because I'm hoping to get to the South Lake trailhead and catch a hitch into Bishop today. And the earlier I get there, the higher chance of catching somebody leaving that's just out for the day. These ptarmigan are so camouflaged that you almost don't see them until they move. And check out the damage that the bridges took from all the snowmelt from the record-breaking snow in 2023. Well, that's an enormous water slide that you only get to do once. All of those beautiful waterfalls were on the way out to Bishop Pass, or the South Lake entrance and exit to the Sierras. So I left Kennedy Meadow South with 5 days of food and didn't know how far I'd get, and I ended up getting further than I thought and headed out into Bishop. And Bishop was one of my 2 0 days on the trail, not including when I had to stay with some friends at the end. But this bakery, Schat's Bakery, is the best bakery I've ever been to in my entire life, and I spent a fortune there putting calories into my belly. I had been here once before, about 12 years earlier, on my first real backpacking trip, so it was even more nostalgic for that reason. But I loved Bishop. It was probably my favorite trail town. I found a trail angel that was doing rides for donations back from Bishop, so I got to cuddle in the back with her dog, which was one of the best rides back to the trail I've gotten, just because I was missing my dog an extra lot. But in order to get back out to the PCT, I had to go back the same exact way I came through Bishop Pass and back down to the spot that I came off. Good morning. It's the 22nd of June, and I'm on my climb up towards Muir Pass. And I got an early start because I wanted the snow to be as firm as reasonably possible. I was concerned where I slept, which was maybe a mile and a half back, that it wouldn't refreeze up here, but it looks like it has. So that was an investment that was well worth it. You can see the sun starting to hit the higher parts, but the last I read, there was about 2 miles of snow before the pass and supposedly about 4 miles of snow after the pass. So I think it'll have been worth it to stay right before the snow and to do it while it's as firm in the morning as it'll be. So I made it up to the top of Muir Pass, and here's the hut. The snow is definitely melting. It refroze, so it was definitely worth doing early in the morning. But supposedly there's still quite a few miles of snow after this, so let's go see what that's all about. So I just made it to one of the spots on the PCT that I've been before that I couldn't wait to get back to. So this is Evaluation Lake, and 12-ish years ago when I was here with friends, we spent the night on the far side over there. This lake empties down into a gorgeous valley that you can't quite see from here, but we spent the night right next to that with a beautiful sunset, so I'm really excited to be back. So I'm a little closer to the lake now, and I have a better view of the beauty surrounding it, and hopefully you can see all the fish jumping. So I think this is where I took one of my favorite pictures that I've ever taken. It was in August, so the river wasn't nearly as wide, but from where I'm standing now, when I was on that trip, I went towards these mountains, where right now I'm coming away from them, so I just wanted to show where I think I was when I took that shot, but very pretty valley. The San Joaquin bridge was out from all the snowmelt in 2023, and it was a known issue, so I looked into how I'd get around it, and I did the up and over route. So I'm at the point where, in order to get around the bridge that was damaged and taken out, I have to do the up and over route, which a lot of people have done, and it sounds pretty fun and scrambly, so I'm at the base of it. And I did a lot of research and have a lot of maps, so it should go pretty smoothly, but just figured I would say that I'm getting started with it, and I'll take some footage along the way. Okay, a little out of breath, but that's looking back at Evolution Valley. And down at the bottom of this valley is where I started, so you can see I've gone up quite a ways. But let me zoom out. What a beautiful, unique view. Once they fix the bridge, nobody's going to come up here. So it is kind of a unique thing. And as you can see, there's a pretty nice plateau-y shelf thing that I'm supposed to follow for the next while until I get to a stream waterfall, and that's my sign to head back down. So once I got to the western edge of it, there was a very obviously used dirt track because it's a bit of a scramble down with a little bit of third class, probably the first third class I've actually done. And then it leads to this beautiful ferny path. Very pretty. So I just finished the up and over, and it wasn't too bad. I slipped. My shoes are pretty worn out, and a lot of the rocks that you're walking on are very polished from snow melt runoff from the thousands of years. It really wasn't too bad. But so this is the trail, the PCT again, and I came down from there. But as I came down, right by that dead half of that aspen tree there were two people that had just done a crossing right there, and it didn't even go to their waist. So in hindsight, that's what I would definitely do, because it's way faster, and the water must just have gotten low enough recently for it. So it's probably what I would do. Hindsight's 20/20, but I enjoyed it. It was a fun scramble. This is Seldon Pass, and it was one of the less difficult ones and less snowy ones so far. But this down here is Lake Marie, which is very pretty. And I just met two rangers, and they recommended looking for a site over here on the current left-hand side, which should be the west side of the lake. So that's what I'm gonna do. don't know how well this will show up, but it has gotten even buggier since I made my dinner and stuff, so I've retreated to the tent. It's just about bedtime anyway, but the mosquitoes here are fierce. I had to stop and talk to a couple rangers who are just taking down, hiker information, permit information, a couple miles back. And when I was doing that, I looked down at my legs, and there was no less than 40 mosquitoes all at the same time on my legs. It was insane. Possibly the worst mosquitoes I've ever seen. I can't be sure of that, but right now I certainly feel like it is. So anyway, really, really glad to be in a tent and not just trying to hide under a tarp or on a ground sheet or something. Mostly packed up, just have to take the tent down and put the last few things in the pack, but I wanted to kind of show what Lake Marie looks like. The sun's cresting on the tops of some of the mountains. It's a damp spot for a few reasons. I mean, one, it's right next to a big lake that you can't quite see. Two, there's an outlet there. Three, there's snow. So all those things combined will lead to condensation more than normal. But I'm not in a big rush today. I have 2 days to do 40 miles. I could have gotten up early and done 40 today. It's just, there's no point to that. So my plan today is to sort of take my time, enjoy myself, try to chunk off maybe 30 of that, maybe a little more depending on how the trail goes. And then tomorrow I go into the Meadow Resort to resupply and probably do laundry and a shower and that fun stuff. That's Silver Pass Lake. And this way, without too much more elevation gain, is Silver Pass. Probably only about 300 more feet of up. This is Lake Virginia, which is up pretty high. It's at about 10,400 feet. And I just climbed out of the valley at the base of those snowy mountains, so it's a really, really pretty spot. So the sun's on its way up, but I got this really pretty view over to the west. Moon is almost full. But I'm on my way to Meadow Campground. So this is my turn for Meadow, as you can no doubt see on that sign. But another thing is that there's an official detour, which you can tell by that bottom tag thing, that there's a bridge out just because of all the crazy snow from last year. And so there's an official reroute that brings you around that. So it works out good for me because I wanted to go into Meadow this way anyway, and that's the official reroute direction. This is a quick tour of Meadow Resort, which is a very hiker-friendly place that has a restaurant that does breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and a resupply kind of camp store with a good selection, but very, very expensive prices. But they're super nice people, so I don't mind. But they let me stay in their campground for free because it wasn't open yet for the year. And that concludes it for this section. That's called the Triple Crown ice cream sundae that they made for me, which was amazing. So thanks so much for watching. Coming up next, we're leaving the Sierra and going into NorCal.